So thank you all who are present, but we'll go ahead and I'll ask the clerk to do a roll call, and then we'll go into the pledge of allegiance.
Trustee Brenner?
Yes.
Trustee Hayes?
Yes.
Trustee Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee Schauer?
Yes.
Trustee Schauer?
Yes.
Trustee Van Ryn? President Burke?
Yes.
Okay, if I can ask everybody to stand and face the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We can take a seat if they choose. All right, we are on agenda item number 4, approval of minutes from the Board of Trustees meeting on January 13, 2026. The recommended action is to approve the minutes in item 4A above. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from January 15th meeting? So moves. Trustee Schauer.
Second.
Second. Trustee Schauer. Will you please read the roll?
Trustee Brenner?
Yes.
Trustee Hayes?
Yes.
Trustee Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee Schauer?
Yes.
Trustee Schauer?
Yes.
President Burke?
Yes.
All right, thank you. And at this point, we're on item 5, the president's remarks. So, President Burke, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. I really don't have anything other than to thank Trustee Hayes for chairing the meeting tonight and sitting in as our president pro tem. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Now we're on item 6, opportunity for the public to address the board on agenda items. I do not see anybody here for the agenda items. We do have some guests that are going to come under item 16. With that, we're going to go to the consent agenda. And we have 3 items on the consent agenda. I'm going to read through them. So item A is consideration of the quote from Down Mechanical Industries, Inc. of Barrington Heights in the amount of $12,488 to replace 2 float valves in the high service pumps at the water plant servicing the business park. The current float valves are located in the high service pumps. The water plant are between 25 and 27 years old and need replacement. The recommended action is a motion to approve the quote from them for the amount of $12,488. Item B is consideration of a resolution relocating the 2026 volume cap to the Village of Buffalo Grove, Illinois. The summary is the Lake County Partners contacts home rule communities in Lake County every year to request a pooling together of the volume cap, which we have a share of, to ensure the best use of our collective private activity bond application. Recommended action is to motion to approve resolution 2026-R-01, a resolution reallocating the 2026 volume cap to the Village of Buffalo Grove. And the last item, item C, is left empty. Rebecca, is that correct? Okay, so item C is to approve the previous 2, item A and item B. So can I have a motion?
I move.
So moved by Trustee Brainerd.
Second.
Second from Trustee Perkins. And the village clerk will be kind enough to read the roll.
Trustee Brenner?
Yes.
Trustee Hayes?
Yes.
Trustee Perkins?
Yes.
Trustee Schauer?
Yes.
Trustee Schauer?
Yes.
President Burke?
Okay. Thank you. All right, so we're going to go to item 8 of the agenda, the treasury report, and I'm going to turn it over to Peggy. I know we have a guest here, Matt Bernardi from Bernardi Securities. We'll get a report from Matt.
Okay, so I'm going to start, but obviously Matt is the star tonight. He's got all the color to add. I'm just going to go through some of the numbers, and Rebecca is setting me up right now as we speak, I believe. She is performing the job of clerk and IT staff and technical assistant, apparently.
So I'll just do it now. I'll just give everybody what we're going to cover under item 8, which is we're going to start out with the annual investment report. B will be approve the financial statements of December 31st, 2025. C will be to pay bills in the amount of $139,695.92. It's listed on the warrant date dated February 3rd and paid $163,403 down to 79 cents this warrant B date, February 3rd. And so those are the actual rate right now.
Okay, and, we'll just start, and back up, you can just play this back up. This was in your packet, this is the report that I put together, so I don't know if you have your packets in front of you, but it's pretty self-explanatory. The first page is a little verbiage. It shows what we had in the funds at the end of last year and at the end of this year. We've added all the interest earned by through the three funds between foreign securities, between our investments there, and the municipal bonds, and our accounts at Barrington Bank. The village did earn $223,163 in interest over the three funds this year. So that's good news. Interest rates moved a couple times this year. The Fed did lower the rates 3 times, 25 basis points each time. We started out with our savings rate at 4.61% at the beginning of the year. Now it's dropped down to 3.885 at the end of the year. So still, compared to the years when I was here, many years where it was 0.2%, this is actually real money coming into the village. So I know that these rates there'll be some movement, but things are starting to settle down. We had a lot of political promises this past year that caused a lot of uncertainty in the market, and hopefully those get ironed out this year. So the one thing I need to mention to the board is these investments are very secure. That's one of our tenets in our investment policy. And so when you when you reduce your risk, you tend to lower your return a little bit. So our return is definitely commensurate with our risk. I think Bernardi's done a great job over the years in investing our money and laddering it well to keep our interest rates as high as possible without having a lot of interest rate risk. So as we go through this, basically there's for each of the funds, it just has a history through the course of the funds. One is your 10-year history since we started with Bernardi for instance, a general fund. And then the next page, page 3, is just the annual activity in the fund. And then that's for each of the funds. And the very last page is the history of the accounts at Barrington Bank, the amounts in each account, and the rates that have been earned through the different years. Some of this I need to do because of the investment policy, and report this once a year to the board, at least once a year. So if you have any questions, this is mostly just numbers. Matt's going to add a lot of color to what's going on this year. But any questions on the report that I put in the packet? Anybody? Okay. All right, so we'll put up Matt's presentation. And he's been here many times. I don't know if I need to introduce Matt, but probably still vice president or something like that. Or
I got hard copies in case the
I did this last time.
Only one request, Matt, if you could kind of just make sure you speak.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Peggy, will you drive that?
Absolutely.
So yeah, thank you for having me tonight. When I was putting this together, I realized that I've been coming here for 10 years. It has not felt like 10 years. A lot has changed over that 10 years in the markets, and as it pertains to our firm, slide 2, nothing's changed. We've been doing this for over 42 years, and what we're tasked here with is building a high-grade, customized municipal bond or fixed income portfolio for you. It's mostly municipal bonds, taxable municipal bonds. And then it adheres to the very specific strategy of cash management. We're trying to optimize for cash management. And the way we do that is really 2 ways. One, we buy taxable municipals, which typically yield more than CDs or treasury bonds or what you're getting at the bank. And we also go a little further out on the yield curve. We're buying 2, 3, 4, 5-year bonds for the portfolio rather than just leaving it in cash in the bank that has a very sensitive rate to what the Fed is doing. Just a little firm update. We're, like I said, we have not changed anything. We're very dedicated to this niche. Assets are approaching $2 billion across the firm. That's mostly high-grade fixed income, mostly municipal bonds. You go to the next page. Actually, go to slide 4, please. Can you slide? This is just a little bit of housekeeping. you access our platform, we have two options. One is a broker-dealer transaction cost model, which these portfolios are currently on. The other is a registered investment advisor fee-based option. Historically, the cost of this portfolio in terms of direct transaction costs is lower than our fee-based model. If at any point it starts increasing significantly for an extended period of time, more than our fee-based model, I'll recommend that model to you. At this point, it's more economic to be on our broker-dealer model. The direct transaction cost last year was about 15 basis points, 0.15. If you were on our fee-based model, it would be 20 basis points, 0.2. If you want to get more in the weeds with this, just let me know. Happy to meet with you or get on a call. But at this point, still my recommendation to stay at Bernardi Securities, the broker-dealer model. If you go to slide 5. Just to talk about the firm for one more slide, we've won a couple accolades within the industry. PSN informally aggregates manager data. They follow hundreds, if not thousands, of managers. The last number of years, we've won a number of awards within the municipal bond sector for both our taxable and tax-exempt strategies. These portfolios adhere to a taxable strategy, taxable municipal bond strategy. So you would fall into the two top ones.
For some reason, it's between slides. I'm not sure.
Oh,
It's
it's okay.
Scroll.
Scroll. Right, right, right.
And then on the next slide, 6, just in terms of the team that's working behind the scenes for you, there's 2 credit analysts. So every bond that we buy in the portfolio first has to be internally scored by our credit research team. Then it gets in the hands of the traders whose job is to find those bonds at better than average yields. And then lastly, the portfolio managers, they're the ones constructing and optimizing the portfolio for a cash management strategy in adherence with the various parameters that we set for the portfolios. Really, the only difference in parameters between the 3 portfolios, the water and sewer, the general fund, and the MFT fund is duration, the max maturity. The general fund is going out max 3 years, the water and sewer 5 years, and the MFT fund is only going out 2 years at this point. If you go to the next slide. Yeah, so just looking forward for kind of where we were and where we're going. The portfolios had a very good 2025. They outperformed the benchmark. The returns were good just on an outright relative basis. Bless you. They have very short average maturities, anywhere from half a year to 2.5 years on average. And we've locked in some great yields with the portfolios, low to mid 4s. That's one of the advantages of this strategy, is that when we buy a bond, you lock in the yield. Peggy mentioned your bank account dropped from 4.6 to 3.88. For at least the next 1 to 3 years, we've locked in a lot of bonds. You can see here anywhere from 4.11 to 4.57 on average across all the portfolios. So that's going to continue to help performance for at least the next 2 or 3 years. The 2-year treasury today is 3.58. So you can see how your bank account is very sensitive to those short-term rates moving lower. In terms of looking forward to performance, municipal bond yields, taxable municipal yields are still attractive relative to treasuries and CDs. So we foresee more outperformance within the sector. U.S. agency securities are attractive but have a lot of call risk. CDs are somewhat attractive, but banks have a lot of liquidity. They don't need a lot of funds, so CD rates are not that attractive in our opinion at this point. The Fed, Peggy noted, they cut 3 times last year by 75 basis points, so 3.25% cuts. They're at a 3.75% Fed funds rate now. The market is expecting them to cut once this summer and then likely one more time towards the end of the year. If inflation continues to work its way lower, I could definitely see 1, maybe 2 more cuts. We get a CPI print, an inflation print next week. It's supposed to be 2.5%. That will be the lowest it's been since really the outbreak of COVID and all the monetary stimulus we threw into the system. So if inflation keeps its path, going a little bit lower. There's no reason for the Fed funds rate to be 3.75. It should be, 3.25, 3.5, but a lot of things can change in the next couple of months, as we all know. Gold has spiked, silver has spiked, the data center build out, the AI boom is still continuing, if not, it's picking up. And so there's definitely inflationary pressures within the system that are kind of re-emerging. The dollar has weakened a lot. That's an inflationary impetus to the system. So we'll see how it plays out. But if things continue as they're projected to be, at least the next 3 to 6 months, we're probably going to get one more cut, and then maybe one at the end of the year. And I just mentioned this, it's important to talk about because this portfolio is very levered to what the Fed is doing. So because it's a short-term portfolio, your future returns 2 and 3 years from now are going to be very predicated on what the Fed does over the next 6 to 9 months. In terms of performance on slide 8, you can see the general fund, water, sewer fund had returns in the mid 5% last year. Over the last 3 years, they've returned around 5%. They've outperformed the benchmark. The MFT fund is a very short portfolio. It only goes out 2 years. It's outperformed this benchmark listed since inception, but we've been building cash in that portfolio. We'll now be reinvesting. But because it's such a short duration, there is no perfect benchmark that we can compare it to. So I would expect over the medium to long term, it will underperform that benchmark listing. That account is really a big account return, but it only goes out 2 years. We're buying 1 and 2 year bonds. But key to this is returns have been great the last 1 to 3 years. That's because we've been buying very high yields gifted to us by the Fed. If you look at the performance over a 5 and 10 year span, it's in the low to mid 2s. Not great, still much better than the benchmark. That's what we're hired to do. The reason the performance 5 to 10 years, or the 5 to 10 years is not great is because when we were hired in 2015, the 2-year treasury was 0.66%. It was very low. And so your bond portfolio, it's going to return the yields you're buying. In 2021, the 2-year was 0.2%. So really, the first half of the life of these portfolios was a very low interest rate environment, and so performance is just not going to be great. Now, the last 3 to 4 years, we've been buying 3.5 to maybe some 5% yields, and your performance has been great. So I expect the next 3 to 5 years, the performance is going to be somewhere between the first 5 years and the last 5 years, in the 4% range. That's what I would expect. If you look at the composition of the portfolios from a credit and liquidity perspective, they're very high grade and very liquid. The average rating is AA+. That is 1 notch below AAA. That is on par with the U.S. government, AA+, AA1. The portfolios are mostly taxable municipal bonds, so bonds issued by other cities and states around the country. You have exposure to 23 different states. We're very heavily invested in the Midwest. And if you look at also from a maturity standpoint, we ladder. So you have bonds maturing every year going out the max maturity that we're allowed to invest. So in terms of the general fund, that's 3 years. The water and sewer fund, that's 5 years. And then the MFT fund, that very short fund, it's 2 years. Go to the next page. This is what we're buying in today's market, the yields that we're capturing. I would focus on the last 3 buckets of bars. So for the MFT fund, we're buying 2-year bonds. So in the taxable municipal space, we're getting about 3.8, maybe 3.9. I would like to think we're going to be beating these yields in the market. For the general fund, we're buying high 3s, almost 4% in 3-year bonds. One of my recommendations is if you have the added liquidity to extend the max maturity of the general fund. I'll have more slides about that later, but it'll allow us to, you can see the general fund, the average yield is 4.38. We're not buying that in 3-year bonds today, so the income from that portfolio will be moving lower because we're buying lower yields today than we were the last 2 or 3 years. The water and sewer fund has an average yield of 4.5. We're not getting that either. We're getting about, call it 4.2% in today's market. So still, you know, the yields aren't as good compared to what we've recently been buying, but they're better than your bank account. And that's a key factor. Peggy, if you go to the next slide. And so this is a good chart to demonstrate why going a little bit longer duration might end up paying out better for the town. You can see, you can't really see on the screen, but if you look at the printed copy, this graphs, if you invest $100,000 in bills, which is basically bonds that mature in under 6 months, and you plot it out, the gray line, 100,000 turns into, call it 250,000, versus buying bonds with 1 to 3 year maturities or 3 to 5 year maturities, how much added value that accrues for the portfolio. So right now, the way that, generally speaking, the portfolios are set up is the water and sewer fund is set up like the dark green line, the general fund is set up like the light green line, and the MFT fund is closer, a little bit higher in terms of duration than the gray line. But the point is that extending duration a little bit will add a lot more value to the portfolio over the long term. Obviously, this portfolio is driven by liquidity, so if you need liquidity and don't want to maximize yield within a measurable time frame or moderate time frame, then the liquidity should drive it. But if you have that added availability, I recommend going out 4 or 5 years rather than 2 to 3 years.
This is at the end of this thing.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah, but I mean, they have it, so you go through.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
It's just I can't show them on the screen because
It's not scrolling.
or it's at the very bottom.
Oh, good. Oh, I see. Okay. Well, just last point then, if you go to slide 14, from a credit risk standpoint, the portfolios, we get a lot of questions from clients these days about natural disaster risk. And we, a couple years ago, developed our own index to measure natural disaster risk and resiliency on a county-based level. What we did is we took FEMA data in terms of natural disaster probability, and we stripped out some of the variables they used to create their natural disaster risk index, and then we factored it with a insurance non-renewal rate metric. A couple years ago, Congress released at the county level insurance non-renewal rates. So you've seen insurance non-renewal rates. So insurance companies say we will not cover certain areas in certain counties. And we saw rates spike in certain areas, California, Florida, of course, a lot of spikes in North Carolina, some in Texas. And so we kind of created this hybrid index of the probability of natural disaster from FEMA data with that insurance metric. And we created our own index, and I guess what it spit out is not entirely surprising. The risk is in California and Florida. Oklahoma was a little bit surprising. We don't have very much of any exposure there. The Mid-Atlantic as well. But really what it told us is our concentration of portfolios in the Midwest from a credit natural disaster standpoint is very good, especially the Great Lake Basin. And that's where your portfolios largely are. So again, if you have any questions about this index and how we calculated it, we're going to release a white paper in the coming months here that I'll make sure I send it over to you. But thank you for your attention and your confidence in our team, and happy to take any questions.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming. It's always good to hear that we're doing all that. But I guess I'll go around the diocese and I'll start with Trustee Shelmus and finish with President Burke.
Thanks for your presentation. The modified duration for the general fund, like 1.13 years. Any thought of like a barbell approach, like the money that we need, to hand now, keep the short duration, but going further out in time, like even 5 to 7 years for a part of it, because the Fed is going to be reducing rates. Right now, it's time to really leverage and build duration.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of what underpins my view that we should extend other than that chart for the medium to long term. It's just the higher you yield by, the better your performance is, because these portfolios are purely driven by the yield that we're investing in. The barbell, I don't have an opinion about that. The ladder is straightforward, disciplined. The barbell, you could argue, is more, it's making more of a bet on certain interest rate policy. I would say the barbell is, if the Fed's going to continue to cut more than 2 times, the barbell will not work out well, because you're going to have a lot of bonds mature quicker, versus the ladder, you're going to have more of the intermediate duration exposure that you would have locked in at higher yields, which would be good to own those in a rate environment where the Fed's really cutting. The Fed's really cutting, that front end is going to drop. All those bonds you had at the front of the barbell are going to turn over into a much lower interest rate version. So it is, in my opinion, more of a bet versus the ladder. It's just straightforward, disciplined, average.
Or even more like a chunk of the money, say, you know what, this money, because of, I don't know, revenue forecasts, like this chunk of our money, we're not going to touch for 5 years.
Yeah.
Or 6 years.
Yeah.
This money we're going to get, 6%.
Yeah.
And then we wait till that chunk matures.
Yeah.
Because the things on the shorter end, things for roads and infrastructure and water, it's good to have liquidity, but just to leverage this.
To maximize that, yeah. Yeah, I definitely
For
agree.
part of it, maybe it's only 15-20%.
Yeah.
Of the overall portfolio. I use the word barbell, but say, we're going to allocate this part of our portfolio for further out in time.
Yeah, I hear you. We have one client that goes out 10 years. They're buying 10-year bonds. It's a 10-year ladder, so the average is closer to 5 or 6 maybe. But yeah, if you discuss that there's a certain bucket of money that you know you're not going to need in the next, I don't know if I'd go out past 7 years, but the next 5 years. Because if you buy a 7-year bond in 5 years, that's a 2-year bond. So yeah, I think that does make some sense, especially with the ladder you already have built. You're already going to have that liquidity come in. If rates do spike, we're going to be buying longer bonds. We're going to be buying 4 or 5-year bonds.
And personally, I think we're going to all be disappointed with inflation coming down. Right? Every week we're reminded when we go to the grocery store of how expensive things are. So I think the Fed is not. I think the Fed cannot cut too aggressively.
Yeah,
so next year to potentially ignite inflation.
I tell you,
And we're not looking at that. We're not looking to speculate on rates, but just say maybe consider a chunk of our money to go out a little bit more.
yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, it's going to be interesting how it plays out next year because there's one bank, at least one, JP Morgan, that thinks they're going to raise rates next year. They're calling for a rate hike. They're calling for maybe a cut or 2 and then a hike because if you said they're going to cut too aggressively, it's going to re-spike the economy, re-spike inflation. But if you look at inflation, 2.5 versus Fed funds rate at 3.75, that's a huge difference. We have not been, that's restrictive policy. The Fed's rate is higher than inflation. We haven't been in that type of policy since before the great financial crisis and before the dot-com bubble. So I think we got to get one more cut, maybe 2. Who knows what 2027 plays out, I think.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Jones. Trustee Brandon.
Thank you very much for coming. I will not be asking any questions
Okay.
because there are others who are much more knowledgeable than I am, and I'm glad you're the one managing our money.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Jones.
Likewise, I appreciate everything that you're doing, and obviously Peggy guides us and suggests to us how in fact we should be investing, and I think that's a discussion that we will be having moving forward. But appreciate the observation of what's going on, and who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? Nobody's got a crystal ball.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
Trustee Perkins.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for all your hard work. We really appreciate everything you do
Thank you.
for 10 years.
Yeah, great.
And I guess I'll vote for President. Thanks for coming again. I think this is going to be an interesting few years ahead of us. But I appreciate this, and I appreciate your comments, Trustee Schalmoser, because we had some pleasant surprises this year with revenue that we weren't expecting, and want to extend some of this instead of just sitting and lower it. So we'll certainly there'll be discussions. Thank you for coming, Matt, and over to you, President Burke.
Great, thanks a lot for being here, so I could be there with you in person tonight. I do appreciate this 10-year relationship, and I think what a much stronger position we put ourselves in really was Trustee Hirsch, who recognized the opportunity, went out and found you guys and put together a really good program, so really appreciative of that. I'm greatly intrigued by the conversation that you had with Trustee Schallmoser. I do believe, because we find ourselves in a really strong financial position right now, I would like to challenge Trustee Schallmoser and our treasurer and you to take a look at it and see if we can't stretch ourselves a little bit with some portion of these portfolios into some longer range fines to offset what we anticipate potentially to be some losses in our interest rates in these shorter time frames. So I'd like there to be some action to come out of this from the three of you, making some recommendations, doing some evaluation of this, and maybe making some recommendations to the board in future months.
Great, thank you.
All right, thanks, Matt, for coming. And Becky, I'll turn it back over to you to go through the financial
Oh,
statements.
sorry, not done. You hanging around, how do you want? Hang around for a few minutes, yeah, hang around for a few minutes, just, not to their desk, but just so I can talk to you. This won't get anything here. Other than how well, but yeah. Okay, sorry, I forgot I was still up. Okay, so tonight we're reviewing the financial statements for the 8 months ended December 31st, 2025. You'll see on our flash report that we have assets of $4,311,000. We have liabilities of $447,000, and our equity is $3,864,000. Our revenues for the 8 months are $3,279,000. Expenses are $2,379,000, giving us a net income of almost $900,000, $899 to be exact. At this point last year, we're showing revenue of $116,000, but we do some of the backing out of some of the unusual items, and we're actually going to compare $1,242,000 as our kind of regular operation net income to, at this point last year, to $821,000. I kind of like a broken record. I'd like to find something else to talk about, but it really is predominantly sales tax and use tax. Together, they're up about $350,000 at this point in the year. There's another $100,000 in there from the DECO grant that just came in January. I'm sorry, December. There's a little bit more coming in December. So that's the bulk of the difference. There's not much else to say about that. It's all good news. If we flip forward to pages 12 and 13, you'll see the budget report. Our revenue is trending 88% actual budget, even though we're just about 70% through the fiscal year. Some of those numbers are coming in for the year in total. For instance, we've collected all our real estate taxes for the year, so that will pull our percentage up a little bit. But the sales tax, that's 112% over budget right now. We still have 4 months to go. So once again, that number is a large number, so it does keep the totals quite a lot. All our business licensors and our contractor licensor and those also pull things up. On page 13, you'll see our expenses are at 69% actual budget. One of the numbers that's pulling that up is the $300,000 that was sent out to the infrastructure fund that was not budgeted, so it pulls the percentage up a little bit. It wasn't budgeted, but it was planned. It just wasn't put in the budget as an expense, but it needs to be shown as a out of the fund for financial purposes. There's really nothing else to mention. Are there any questions before I move on to the marginal tax fund? Okay, we can move on. That starts on page 14 of the report. This is my page 14. You'll see we have current assets in there of $594,000. On the next page, you'll see our expense structure. We had one outstanding bill of $106,000 for road work. Came in at $26,278. So you did question the vendor on that. Apparently there was work that did not need to be done. So that's an $80,000 savings in that account for this year. So that'll just go back into the fund balance. months and will be there for any 2 years to spend. Okay, page 20, we've got a water sewer fund. They have net current assets in there of almost $1.7 million. Everything in there is trending really close to budget, so I don't have anything to mention at this point on that one. And then finally, the infrastructure fund that has net current assets of $269,000. Well, that fund will need funds this year to in fiscal 27 to get the road work done. That's going to be done out of this fund next year, but that will come up in our budgeting process. And lastly, for the accounts payable warrants, I only have one warrant to mention, and that's for Peter Baker and Sons that I just mentioned. That was $26,278, and that's the final paragraphs for the 2025 road program, which is now all done. So it was kind of a short month because we had a meeting just like 2 weeks ago. I felt like it's January 13th, so it was just a couple weeks ago. So a little bit short meeting this month because of that. Any questions on any of the items?
I do not see there are any questions. President Berg, any questions?
Okay, and that's all.
No questions from my end.
Thank you, Peggy. Okay, now what I would like is a motion to approve the block. I'm going to read them. Items 8B, 3D, and 8B is approval of financial statements dated December 31st, 2025, which Treasurer Hirsch just reviewed. Item C is pay bills in the amount of $139,695.92. As listed on the accounts payable warrant A, dated February 3rd, 2026. Item D, pay bills in the amount of $163,403.79. As listed on the accounts payable warrant B, dated February 3rd. Can I have a motion to approve items 8B through 8D?
So,
Trustee Scheller?
Second.
Second, by Trustee Scheller motion. If the village clerk would be kind enough to read the roll, I'd appreciate it.
Trustee Briner?
Yes.
Trustee Hayes?
Yes.
Trustee Perkins? Yes. Trustee Scheller?
Yes.
Trustee Schalmoser?
Yes.
President Berg?
Yes.
Okay, great. Now we'll go to item 9, the administrator's report. Sharon?
I have nothing to report this evening. Thank you.
Okay. All right, item number 10, the village clerk's report.
So business license, emails have gone out to the businesses. As I had previously said, I was also going to be sending it to the building owners to try and get more compliance to make sure that they're checking with their businesses or their tenants or whoever's in the building, but they also need a license. And so about 250 businesses in Barrington right now. I say about because I think we're going to be finding some more this year. Last year was about 200, so I think we're going to be getting up there about 250 this year. So cloud permit is so far so good. I did offer for applicants to meet with me in person if they're having difficulties navigating the new system. So I've got 2 meetings scheduled for tomorrow, and then, which is great that I sent it out, just Monday, I think, and people are already looking and working on it, which is a good sign. I also created a video that isn't kind of audio, but just a video that people can follow along from start to finish with the application, so they can see and kind of work through it to try and work through those kinks, because I'm still new to it, so at least I can help them follow along that way. We did have one business who has completely finished their license, and we thank them for that. That is A&M Machining. Their DBA is H&K Precision Machining, which is just a manufacturing business, but they are always in compliance, so we thank them for that. In other news, we have an upcoming election. I know that someone came last month and gave us some information on their candidacy, but I just wanted to remind everyone that the election for the general primary is on March 17th, which is a Tuesday, of course. And these elections are for federal, state, and county candidates for an established political party. So just so you know what you're voting for and to prepare yourself for. Early voting is, of course, available at Village Hall, and that will be March 2nd through March 16th. And we're also in election day voting sites, so we will be open to the public during that time. That's it.
Okay, any questions for the village clerk? Thank you, Rebecca. Okay, now I'll move on to item number 11 on the agenda, trustee reports. Therese is not here, so we'll move to myself, economic development. I don't have much to report. I was out, had some surgery this month, but next month I'll have more to share. And now I'll turn over to item C, external relations, President Burke.
Thank you. I have no report this evening.
Okay, thank you. All right, Trustee Schalmoser, Finance and Resources Administration.
Great, thank you. I had a meeting last week with a preliminary budget discussion. We talked about that at the committee whole, and that's ongoing. So nothing to report definitively yet. However, I attended the BayCog meeting last week, and back in September, President Hay of Tower Lakes asked me to write a letter of support. President Burke authorized me to write a letter of support for the Kelsey Stream Restoration grant application. And I wrote a letter, and he mentioned, President Hay mentioned that he was successful, and it was really, the big push was the collaboration, cross-municipal collaboration that was successful. And so he was very appreciative. And so our neighbors to the north and east, they're very happy. And they're wonderful neighbors, and we're all getting along. So a victory for this area. That's the end of my report.
Yeah, thank you, Trustee Schalmoser. Okay, Trustee Brand.
I have nothing to report.
All right, today, great. And we'll go to F, Public Safety, Trustee Shaw.
Thank you, sir. Well, we want to welcome our new liaison, as you were aware last month. Sergeant Hangy indicated that he was getting moved after we thought he was going to be our liaison, but we have a new liaison, Sergeant Thomas Zawojski. Sergeant, will you come forward, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself? Also, day shift commander, I believe.
Afternoon shift.
Afternoon shift, well, what are the shifts?
So yes, Sergeant Thomas Zawojski, been with Lake County Sheriff's Office for 18 years. Started my career off on highway patrol, field training officer, evidence technician, a detective for 4 years. I was our lead evidence technician in the detective bureau. Spent 3 years as our lead instructor for the entire agency, so our courts, our deputies, our civil process, teaching them use of force, firearms, tactics, and then promoted to sergeant. I'm also on our SWAT team. I'm one of our 4 team leaders on our SWAT team. My specialty is our breaching unit, mostly explosive breaching. So if you have any questions, feel free. I love them. I take them. What are your concerns, I guess, at the end of the day? I'll give you my contact information. Want to have a very good open relationship, easy communication, email, text, call me if you have any concerns. Expectations in the sheriff's office, areas where you need focus, whether it's traffic or concerns from your citizens. So, thank you.
For the most part, things are under control in the southwestern part of the county.
Absolutely. I'm on our afternoon shift, so 2:30 to 11 p.m. is what I normally work. So it's our youngest group at the sheriff's office, average age of late 20s. So we got a lot of young go-getters out there. So they like to stay proactive, especially down in this area too, because they're stuck in north of Lake Barrington both. So we try to save it.
And we get the daily reports, so the activity has been under control for the most part, nothing major that I'm aware of.
Nothing major. I mean, with you being close to Route 14 in McHenry County, we have events that will pass through, but nothing ever ends up here in north of Lake Barrington.
Appreciate it. Thank you and welcome. We look forward to continue your relationship with the sergeant. I know we're going to be stopping in the office too, so always welcome to do that and stay in contact. So thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you very much. I know they have an initiative now in the county, which we've preached for a long time. The thing is, see something, say something. And that's, I think I mentioned that before in the past, that if you see something unusual, report it. Call the sheriff's department. Don't think about it secondhand and say, I saw something unusual last week, and then we had an incident. I wish I should have called. If
from the rafters above. Sergeant, welcome to the team. As you are probably well aware, we've enjoyed a very long and successful partnership with Lake County Sheriff. Over the years, you guys have provided tremendous service, but at an even deeper level, we've enjoyed our liaison being here to both exchange of information, but we also, there's a safety factor. We're all feel a little bit more safe and a little bit more secure during these meetings when we have someone here who can protect us if something were to get a little bit dicey. So for all those reasons, we welcome you, we thank you, and we look forward to working with you. And I'll look forward to meeting you when I'm back in town for the next meeting.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. As I mentioned last month, I felt the safest I've been in a long time. I heard President Burke and myself were up for Lieutenant Courage retirement up at the headquarters with 35 uniformed individuals. Felt very, very safe. So we feel very safe. And that's one final thing. That's the one thing that the Sheriff's Department can provide to us. You got one squad here 24 hours a day, but if you really need it, the whole force will be here. And that's something you can't buy. So we're very fortunate and appreciate it very much. Other than that, Barrington Countryside Fire Protection District, I just wanted to mention my gratitude to them. They participated again in our Thanksgiving food raising for the Cuba Township Food Pantry. They were there to transport everything that we were able to collect from the Kelsey Roadhouse to the food pantry. They were very appreciative of that effort, and I know it's an ongoing need that the township has. You don't think about it in Cuba Township, but there are a lot of people that utilize that. So our thanks to the department for helping us with that, and everyone who contributed to it. It's the end of my report.
Thank you, Trustee Scheller. Trustee Perkins.
Thank you. So I don't have a lot to report, basically the same thing, except we have secured, just as of today, all of our bands for the Sunset Serenades, which will be in June, July, and August, the third Thursday every June, July, and August. We also have a little pop-up concert and big, huge celebration on July 2nd. It's going to be a 4th of July, but celebrated on the 2nd on a Thursday night, called Summer Nights and Freedom Lights, and America's 250th hometown celebration. We're going to have bands, we're going to have all kinds of. Rebecca has been working tirelessly, along with former trustee Jim Thompson, who's a veteran, of course, and the veterans of LBS are all in on this event. So we've got lots of really neat things, educational, fun, just you name it. So that will be Thursday, July 2nd in the evening. I think, do we have a 4:30 start? Is that what we're going to think? I think that's it. More to come. We've got time. You can change it on your calendar. And then, of course, we have to bring the summer to an end. I can't believe we're talking bring the summer to an end already, but October 3rd will be our barn stomp. So just put it on your calendar. Just, save the date. And that is it. That's all I have.
I'm doing bingo for the.
You're doing bingo. That's fabulous. I love, you know what? I kind of wanted to do bingo, but I'm happy to try. No, I've always, with my family, when I was little, I was always a bingo caller, and it's like my favorite thing. Yeah, bingo's fun.
You can have all the fun here.
Yeah.
No, it's a lot of
It's
work.
fun.
It's a lot of work. It sounds
It's fun.
like it's a lot of
It's
work.
fun.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go on to old business, which we have done. Item 13, ordinances. We're going to discuss this evening. Item 14, resolutions. We have none this evening. Item 15, new business. We have no new business this evening. But now on item 16, opportunity for the public to address the village board on non-agenda items. So So we have Maria and Susan here, both LBS residents, and the floor is yours, so please come up. And if you would state your full name, we are a quarterly meeting, just so we know, and then tell us what you'd like us to educate. There's a microphone button that's got a little.
My name is Maria Rapata, and I am the president of Gardeners of the Shores, which is a garden club in Lake Barrington. And Susan Nightingale is here tonight to give me support, but that's about all she's going to do. Good evening, President Burke and village trustees. Susan and I are here tonight to share with you an exciting and meaningful project, one that brings purpose and lasting impact to our community. We are creating a beautifully conceived, redesigned butterfly garden to be built along Lake Barrington. The plan, kindly donated by Schmittig Landscaping, calls for the creation of a garden specifically built to attract pollinators and various butterfly species. It will be located on the path to the lakeside viewing pavilion and directly across from the Veterans Garden, which honors the sacrifice of fellow Americans. These two gardens are intended to complement each other and the surrounding landscape. We estimate that thousands of people will stop and linger at both the gardens. We believe the butterfly garden is important for many compelling reasons. A number of residents in Lake Barrington Shores are expert in master gardening, pollinator support, and the conservation of natural areas. We see this as an excellent platform to share our knowledge through tours, walks, and talks with the greater community and specifically local students. As well, revitalizing our current butterfly garden is an intentional response to creating a vibrant ecosystem. The butterfly garden design is reimagined for long-term sustainability, low maintenance, and measurable impact. As you can see from the landscape plan, this garden will be planted primarily with native species selected to support local pollinators through their life cycle. The design will beautifully enhance the two gardens and the surrounding landscape. Beyond its ecological role, the garden is intended for quiet observation, education, and connection. Once the garden is established, yearly maintenance can be managed easily by the volunteers of the garden club. So far, we have secured $3,000 primarily from our garden club members. And we have a commitment from our Lake Barrington Shores HOA landscape manager to install the hardscape and manage the ground preparation, which is valued at $4,000. We estimate the additional funding needed to secure this project is $10,000. We believe the Village of Lake Barrington should be amongst the founding donors. A contribution that will be noted in signage for the life of the garden. Additionally, your investment will continue to benefit the village with steady stream of social media content for your platform. The Butterfly Garden is a wise investment in biodiversity, environmental resilience, and in education and stewardship, not only within Lake Barrington Shores, but also the village of Lake Barrington and its surroundings. This extremely worthwhile project reflects your commitment to the natural systems, foresight and planning, and leaving your community stronger for years to come. Your contribution towards this endeavor will be truly valued. Thank you. Any questions?
Well, as is practice, turn it over to President Burke here, but appreciate you coming.
Thank you so much.
And tell us the story I did there so I know what you're talking about. But I'll start with President Burke, and I guess go around and see if there's any questions.
Sure, well, thank you, Maria and Susan. Sorry I'm not there, and I can't speak or renderings, but I'm sure I will get an opportunity to see that as you very eloquently your piece on this, and I think it makes a lot of sense what you guys are doing. We applaud it, and as you know, Lake Barrington is very consistent with our brand in terms of open space and natural areas. And if I'm not mistaken, and this is a question maybe for our clerk or our administrator, we have our own butterfly garden, whether that we continue to maintain that or do we not maintain our own butterfly garden?
Excuse me, we do have one outside Village Hall that is in need of some sprucing up. It's still functional, but it's not, it's in need of some help.
So what made me think about that is maybe as you guys are building butterfly gardens and maybe we can work something out where we can help each other, because if ours may need a little bit of help, and maybe you all are just those people who can support us on this end as well. So more to come on that, but thank you for taking the time, and we're keeping you out late tonight for our meeting, but come and present these ideas to us for our consideration.
Well, we can certainly collaborate with you and extend our expertise to help you. We have many, many people that can do so. We can get a group together to make that happen.
Great, thank you.
Anyone else?
Go around the line, Trustee Shelton, any questions?
Thank you for all your hard work. I would love to find out how we can get more butterflies to move to Lake Barrington. Because we have a beautiful park across the street called Featherwood Park. It needs butterflies. It needs a lot of things, but butterflies would be great to start. So I would love to find out, the ecosystem, what type of environment is most hospitable. So I look forward to sharing with you.
I'd be glad to help you with that. I'm not an expert, but there are many people that are in our community. And, we can certainly take a look at your grass, what kind of herbicide you put on it, what kind of insecticide you put on it. That might
Well, I'm not sure what we have over there, but it's not a lot of grass, but it's certainly a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff.
Yes, yeah. So that would be great.
Well, we can try and clean that up and,
Really, okay. See, we already have help. Or at least experts to help us. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Trustee Barrington?
Brenda?
Hi. I sense some collaboration happening here, and I think that's wonderful because we're all in Lake Barrington.
We are.
Yeah, we're all part of it. And we could use some expertise because I know what avid gardeners and what expert gardeners we have in LDS. I need some help here understanding this because I'm one of those people that gets up at 6 a.m. and goes kayaking every morning, and I'm looking at this going, where is this? So, can you point, where's the water?
Sure, let's think about this. The
Yeah.
water would be over here and over here.
Okay.
The veterans garden is over here.
Okay, that's where I was getting confused.
Use the veterans garden, and
They have a little line that says that the existing veterans garden is here.
That's a centerpiece.
That's what I thought, but I'm like trying to figure out where the stairs are that go down.
Well, you're not seeing the stairs to the right, but that bridge that's depicted on the top there, that's just the decking that goes on the upper bed of the marina building.
Right.
And then you've got the two, below it, you've got all the stones there with the veterans' names on it.
Right.
That's in the picture, that center part is
Is
where
that
the
the-
line post. Yeah, that's where the veterans.
Right, yeah, okay, well, that's trying to figure out.
So the water you're looking at up is west, and to the left is south. It's just south of the pathway.
Yeah, but I'm still trying to figure out where the stairs are that go down.
To the lake, to the right in the picture. Her hand is.
I'm gonna be going out and trying to figure it out, because I think it's a wonderful thing. I'm very confused.
one of the things that is really compelling us to do this, specifically this year, if we could possibly get it done, is because the veterans garden is getting a whole new refresh by Smithick as well.
Okay.
And so Smithick put together a design for them and for us that really complement each other, And so the veterans are very fortunate. They're able to get funding through other sources, and they really don't need anybody. They have enough money to do it without any problem. We're in need of funds, so we need help with this. And, we have all kinds of fundraising ideas that we will definitely explore and work with. A boost from you all would be really appreciated. And we will fundraise until we get the money to do it. I mean, we are committed to do this. It's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen this year, it will happen sometime. But we love to coordinate with the veterans. We love to start our educational program with the kids. I've already received, real boost of confidence from Bill Bishop over at the veterans, and he said, whenever you do tours, you let us know. We'll have a veteran there to do tours with you. As well, Niall from the Conservators, who is Susan Nightingale's husband, has already committed to also take tours to our forest and help them understand what nature is all about in that environment as well. So we have a lot of great ideas, and we really want to make this happen, and I'm planning to spearhead the bejeebies out of it. It's just a matter of making it happen and making it work, and this is our first start right now, and we will continue until we get it done. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm grateful you came to that, because I've been living there, and I do benefit. I love what the Conservatives have done. The Forest Service is amazing. I walk there all the time with my dog. But we have needs here. Trustee Shaw was about, in our committee, what we were talking about, our park. Bethlehem Park, sorry. We're having some challenges, and we just don't have the expertise. There's expertise sitting right over there, so I think there's a really good opportunity to collaborate. So appreciate you coming in. Love the idea. We'll talk about it, see where we go.
We sure can. My phone number, I do believe I left my phone number there, as well as my email address, is on the packet. We left you some question and answers in case you had any questions that maybe we thought of. So feel free to contact me or email me, and I'm happy to assist. We have over 100 members in the Garden Club. Many are non-residents. We incorporated Lake County Garden Club into our club earlier last year, and so there, we have Tower Lake, we have Deer Park, we have Lake Barrington, and we have Lake Barrington Shores. They're all members of our garden club, and we'll continue to grow that. We have a lot of things planned for this year, fun things as well as educational, and we look forward to working with you all. Any other questions or concerns?
No, I just, obviously, your time frame would be as soon as possible.
Yes.
Is there anything you can do this year with the funding that you have?
Yeah, we would need the money to we could do some things this year. Schmidt would really like to do it all because they want to control it, they want to make sure it's beautiful, they want to make sure it's properly managed. So, we're trying to find a way to perhaps do, stage 1, stage 2, and then stage 3, the actual planting and installation of the plants, which would be the last thing we would do. There's a lot to be done before we put the plants in, so we need to clear the ground, we need to put in some hardscape, we need to do some herbiciding, so we need to trim some bushes. So there's much to be done, and that 3,000 will get us somewhere, but not very far.
Okay. There's an existing, so you're saying there's an existing butterfly garden at the north end of the beach. That's kind of where that's at. So that's existing. You're saying to update it and enhance it.
Exactly, because right now much of it has really gone to there's some invasive species in there. It's overgrown. It needs to be properly.
Sounds like ours.
All kinds of things going on there that we need to take care of before we plant.
Yeah.
Okay?
So the request obviously is if the village could give them some money.
That would be a good thing to say.
Yeah, right. That's probably.
That would be, your contribution would be greatly appreciated. And realize something that we do want to make sure you understand is that if you do help us this year, you would be considered a founding member, a founding donor. And we do plan to have a plaque thanking our founding donors, including, the village of Lake Barrington as a founding donor. We actually have one founding donor already, who is an individual. His name is Len Zuma, and he's given us, $500 just to start the project, and he's just a guy. So we were really grateful to him, and we will pursue more of those individuals to help us. We have people's names on the
Trustee Perkins?
This is wonderful. I love this idea. I just have one question. So is this inside the gates or is it like outside the gates?
It is not outside the gates, it's inside the gate. And Susie, we really want you to understand that we will invite people to come in to visit for tours outside, from the outside.
Sure.
Obviously we have, 3,000 residents that can enjoy it all the time. We have open houses on Sunday. People can come in and as they're looking at real estate, they can look at the gardens, and obviously they're going to want to look at the lake and the Veterans Garden. We have garden clubs, Palatine, Wakanda, and Barrington, that we could collaborate with, and they can come and take a look at our gardens. And we can certainly invite anyone, when we have our garage sales, when we have our other events, to come and visit the garden.
Sure. I was just curious.
It is inside, yes. Have you been there? Have you seen Lake Barrington Shores?
I have been in delivering.
Yeah, well, we have the events start Memorial Day.
Yeah.
That's the same.
I was going to say, I've been in delivering Girl Scout cookies when my daughter was younger, too. Yes,
Well, those Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts are something else that we do plan to target and have them come and visit and, learn about butterflies and pollinators and all of that too, so,
lovely.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
Maria, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for supporting you. Have a good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, we got the agenda. We do not need to go to closed session this evening. We don't have anything other, so I need a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting so I can use this fine gavel.